Some may regard Westcott and Hort as visionaries, innovative and dedicated Christian scholars with a zeal for God's Word. But in reality, the evidence suggests that both men had a sordid past and engaged in activities that can only be described as demonic.
There's considerable debate. Were these men involved in the occult? Were they influenced by spirits? They helped organize something called the Ghostly Guild when they were in college. The purpose of the Ghostly Guild, which they talk about, and Hort talks about particularly, was to collect stories about people's personal experiences with ghosts. Hort makes it clear he believes that's real, and said they should collect stories about it and study it. From Life and Letters of Westcott by his son, speaking of his father. The communion of saints. He does not specifically mention a spirit, but he refers to this communion of saints. Seems particularly associated with Peterborough. And his father had ministry in Peterborough, so that's when the communion of saints was the strongest. He had an extraordinary power of realizing this communion. So he was there. He had an extraordinary power of what? Communicating with the spirits of the recently dead. It was his delight to be alone at night in the great cathedral. For there, he could meditate and pray in full sympathy with all that was good and great in the past. I have been with him there on a moonlight evening, when the vast building was haunted with strange lights and shades, and the ticking of the great clock sounded like some giant's footsteps in a deep silence. He had always abundant company. Who do you think that company was? You think in the middle of the night, in a darkened auditorium, his church members were coming to have fellowship with him? He would sit in the dark, and spirits that he thought were ghosts would come to him, especially when he was in Peterborough. It was especially strong then, but also when he was at Auckland Castle, he'd sit in the dark, and one spirit after another would come in until the place was full. But if that's true, they weren't ghosts. If that's true, those were seducing spirits. Those were demons. Now, if he made the story up, I don't trust him with Bible translation. If he was crazy, I don't trust him with Bible translation. But I would rather he made it up or be crazy than for it to be true.